Columbus, oh, I love Ohio people are the best. It is so, it's so great to be back in Columbus and OSU campus. My God, the beers I underage drank in the Burger King parking lot here with my pal Amy, who's here with my awesome family. And I loved growing up in Old Worthington. Best place to be a kid. I mean, I seriously loved it. Sometimes when I'm feeling nostalgic, and this is true, I'll get on Google Maps and use Street View and just click my way through a nice walk from my house to the school or Dairy Queen. You know, that's normal. Everybody does that, right? Hashtag living in the past. Oh, well. But yes, HRC, I'm deeply honored and humbled to receive any recognition from an organization that's so passionately dedicated to human rights and equality as HRC. As far as most of what you just saw up there, I mean, I was just lucky to be the one that booked those jobs, but hopefully I played the characters as real people and not as offensive stereotypes. No, well, my thoughts whenever playing a gay role is how will a young closeted kid feel watching this, and what will an out adult think of how my hair looks? But I am keenly aware that as a white and American man, I have all sorts of privileges. I'm so lucky that I was able to live in Manhattan and West Hollywood, the easiest places in the world to be out. Earlier this week, I was at the Starbucks in WeHo. We call it WeHo. And I realized I am so in the bubble. I mean, if the bubble has a bubble in it, I'm in the bubble's bubble. But it's the LGBTQ people outside that bubble, in small towns or trapped in fundamentalist families, who make visibility a truly award-worthy and heroic gesture. Nonetheless, HRC and I have been fighting for visibility since 1980, when it was founded as one of the first gay and lesbian political action committees in the United States, and when I performed in my 5th grade talent show as Dolly Parton. I wore a wig and a poncho, and I had my hands like this were her boobs. And when the chorus to 9 to 5 kicked in, I was like, working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. It brought down the cafetorium. So yeah, visibility was always pretty easy for me. I don't know, it came fairly naturally for me to just be myself. I mean, I didn't know I was gay then, but if I didn't let my freak flag fly, per se, I did often wave it around Old Worthington fairly regularly with little to no repercussions, and probably because I was lucky enough to grow up in this wonderful city where there are so many opportunities for someone different to find a place to fit in. Yeah. Yep. From the still awesome theater companies and community theaters to the very accommodating elementary school where I decided, and they for some reason allowed me, to occasionally stop all 6th grade classes so I could perform my sketches. No idea why that was allowed. And Worthington High School, where the brilliant drama teacher Bronwyn Hopton gave us free reign in a safe space. Yeah. And maybe it's because I was in theater that I always knew that there was a world full of LGBTQ people waiting for me out there when I grew up. But my older brother by 5 years, David, who's here tonight with my awesome family, and is also gay, told me that he didn't feel that sense of hope as a kid. See, it's hard for young people today to understand how few people were out back then. I mean, this was pre-Elton John. No one was out. I mean, besides Velma from Scooby-Doo. No one. And my brother David once admitted to me, and this sounds like a joke, but it isn't, that as a boy, he thought the only other gay person in the world was Boy George. So he just figured that when he'd grow up, he'd have to move to England and find him. He literally thought he had to marry Boy George. They'd be at their wedding like, I'll tumble for ya. Hats, braids, anyone? I'll tumble for ya. Okay. Well, that is why it's so important for us to let young people know who we are, especially young people, which is not easy when those who seek to demonize us do so by equating homosexuality with sex and not love. So while these people seem to have no problem pushing the importance of kids coupling up, of Cinderella meeting her prince, they refuse to allow kids to understand they have other choices. Hey, look, what if Cinderella is bi, or lesbian? It's important for kids to know that Belle was also in France around that time. And if she was bi or lesbian, the two of them would be so cute together. They'd probably meet at a ball or underage drinking at Burger King. I don't know, it's just so romantic. Come on, Disney, where is that fairy tale, huh? Sorry, getting back to my older brother. He came out to our parents years before me, before they even knew what it was. Seriously, my mom says that after he told her, she went to the library to look up homosexuality. She was probably like, let's see, H's, hellfire, herpes, holy fuck, homosexuality. Alphabetical order can really screw with your head. Anyway, as I watched my folks struggle to not hate this new part of who he was, and as he suffered through screaming, tearful arguments, dishes were thrown, not at him, but more for Jewish dramatic effect. But my parents took it well comparatively. He wasn't thrown out of the house or disowned, and before long they were so cool with it, it would make your head spin. So when a couple years later I realized I was gay, I was just like, me too. Simple and easy, so thank you, David, from the bottom of my heart for paving the way for your gay brother. And showing me which gay bars were fun. Garage on the weekends, Wall Street on Wednesdays. Am I right? Oh. Okay, anyway, a few nights ago, I was lying in bed trying to go to sleep, and I found myself ruminating on this recurring fantasy I have whenever terrible things happen in the world. I fantasize that I can be invisible and go back in time. I know it's a bit of an ask, but go with me here. And I taser someone right before they do something bad. Terrorist, zap. Sally Field Oscar speech, zap. Me with a home perm in 8th grade, zap. It's not about hurting them, it's just stopping them. I have it at a low wattage, it's fine. So this time, I was in Indonesia where 2 young men were about to be caned for making love. And then my thoughts brought me to Washington, D.C. And I was trying to figure out a game plan, but I realized I had so many politicians to tase that it would never work because people would know that something's up with half of Washington lying unconscious. Anyway, that's when I realized something, and that is, I do this whenever I'm feeling hopeless. And so I admit it. I feel hopeless right now. It's easy to feel hopeless in this time. This is the part of the speech where I would list all the crappy stuff that's happening in the world, but I just can't. I don't want to talk in specifics, because really what it boils down to is truth and love versus lies and fear. And right? Yeah. And right now, lies and fear are having a pretty good day. And the reason why is the same reason since the very first jerk made the stupid decision that money and power are more important than decency. These greedy people have always used lies and fear to control the masses, remain in power, and keep the money. They tell people that they're not the enemy, that we are evil, that children must be protected from us, from LGBTQ people, from black people, Mexicans, liberals, Muslims, on and on. And when they've got the masses scared and angry, the masses don't put much importance on the fact that their children aren't fed and don't have health care or decent education. Now, it seems these jerks have pretty much always had a foot in organized religion, twisting spirituality into doctrine because fear keeps people tithing in the pews, whereas preaching love might inspire people to get out and help the less fortunate. But in the last 30 years, they've infiltrated our government, striving to control education, law enforcement, and news sources to make sure that we keep fighting each other and not the real enemy, greed. But in the end, I know that love will conquer fear. Truth will conquer lies. The important thing to remember is things feel so bad now because they were so amazing so recently. Right? Centuries of hatred and bigotry with legally enforced discrimination were dismantled only very recently thanks to the work of organizations like HRC. We've made insanely huge strides. Marriage equality is legal. That's our reality. So things just aren't as amazing right now as they've recently been. And if things can get that good, obviously we can do it again. It just takes time. I wish it didn't have to. I wish I could personally just punk the world and project my face into the sky and tell the whole world, hello, God here. The answer is love. You are all one. God is in each of you. Heaven's on earth. God is watching you. But first off, where am I going to get a projector that big? And I'd have to learn every language. That's exhausting. And plus, what if people recognize me from my Chex Mix commercials? It's a horrible idea. Someone tase me. Sally Field, Sweet Revenge? No? Okay. Look, I know my fantasies don't do anything, but I can try to stay woke, speak my truth, show people who I am in hopes that it allows them to be who they are. As Marianne Williamson says, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. I also will work harder to take after my incredible sister, who never misses a march, a Democratic fundraiser, a protest, or opportunity to phone bank, knock on doors, and get signatures. And just so you know, our mom who threw dishes is now a proud member of PFLAG and leads her own group. Each one of us can make a stride in our progress, make a little difference, so that little boy in Old Worthington can know that it's not just him and Boy George. As a great philosopher once said, it matters what you say. It matters what you do. Now we're fighting in our hearts, fighting in the streets. Won't somebody help me? Whoa, whoa, stupid people are stupid. It's Boy George song. The lyrics are stupid. Okay, I should get off the stage. Anyway, in conclusion, I would like to accept this award on behalf of my brother, who had no mentor, no role model, and took the greater chance by being seen. So thank you, David. And thank you so much to HRC. Thank you. Do I say this?